Vicars Close is unique in that it's the oldest continually inhabited street in Europe that's still used for its original purpose.
In the lush rural landscape of Somerset, England, is the Cathedral city of Wells. Its traditional Old English fare, ancient buildings, cobbled streets, and a history that dates back millennia. One street in particular can boast a story that's almost as old. But don't be fooled by these cobbles. More on that shortly.
Vicars Close came on the back of the founding of Vicars Choral. So Vicars Choral, which is our adult male choir for the cathedral, was founded in about 1100 and the vicars themselves lived in different residences across the city of Wells. Bishop Ralph of Shrewsbury decided just before 1346 that there needed to be a way of bringing all the vicars together, ensuring that behaviour was brought into line and that they were there and ready to perform up to about 7 services a day in the cathedral.
Records suggest there had been unruly behaviour among the vicars, with some even turning up late for services. So this medieval form of communal living brought clergy and conduct in line without anyone needing to set foot outside the boundary of Vicars Close. Connected to the cathedral by this bridge, Vicars Hall was the first to be built, used as a store and a meeting place for the choir members. The houses then followed, and no front gardens as we see today, it would have just been one big open square.
Originally we had 42 individual houses, so every vicar had a house that was literally one room up and one room down. When we got to the Reformation, vicars were allowed to marry, they were allowed to have children, and so we find that some of those individual houses were then knocked into double houses to accommodate larger growing families. We've still got number 22 where you can see the layout with the original medieval windows and door. In Georgian times there was a change, big Georgian windows were put in, which actually become part of the character of the close that we see today.
These unusual chimney stacks were probably added in the early 1400s, as well as a small chapel at the end of the street.
There are other historic areas which the project that we're working on is focusing on opening up. So you can at the moment do a specialist tour. You can come up into spaces like this, which is the old Treasury and Muniment block, so part of the administrative centre of the cathedral.
In addition to the historic architecture, the close still has many secrets to tell, including some significant artefacts.
And this is a key example. So this is a medieval muniment chest, so dating from the early 1300s, originally used by Vicars Choral to house the maps and title deeds and important documents.
Today the street is open to the public, and a number of the houses are still occupied by choir members, as well as other cathedral staff. And with many parts being over 670 years old, a big project is underway to preserve the fabric of Vicars Close.
A number of the buildings are in a very poor state of repair. We've got really big problems with damp and water ingress. So although the buildings look absolutely perfect from the front, when you start looking behind the facade, we've got some major issues that we're going to be addressing just to safeguard and save the close for the future. One of the other aspects of the project is enabling people to learn more about the history of the close, to be actually visiting inside a couple of the houses and understanding how the close has changed over time.
Oh, and about those oldie worldy cobbles. Well,
the cobbles were actually only laid in the 1980s. So prior to the cobbles being laid then, the street was just tarmac. And looking back into the past, we think originally it was probably just a compressed dirt street.
A 14th century street with cobbles from the decade of massive shoulder pads and Donkey Kong. Quite fitting for a place that wears its history so well.